On a related note, I got more anecdotal evidence of the inflationary pressures throughout the economy in a message that one of my Instagram followers sent to me. Another Instagram follower sent me a message, which, by the way, I'm on there. I look at the messages, so it's another reason to follow me is you may get my attention and you may get me to reply to your message. But this guy sent me a copy of an email that his employer just sent out to the team warning them about a problem with prices. Now, this guy works for a company that sells display stuff for retailers, like mannequins or shelves or different things that you would use to display your merchandise, in your store to your customers. And all of the stuff that they sell is imported. I think most of it is coming in from China. And so the message that was sent, to the troops from, the people up top was that the container rates had just jumped by another $6,000 this week. So clearly they've been jumping in the past, and now in the current week, they've now added an additional $6,000 to the cost, and obviously all of this is going to filter into what it costs on a per unit basis to import all this merchandise that they're then reselling to U.S. businesses. And obviously, too, if U.S. businesses are paying more money for this merchandise, well, they need to charge higher prices to their customers in order to recoup these costs, or they simply go out of business because they can't afford it. But apparently, the bigger issue wasn't this $6,000 increase in the cost. It was the fact that even if they were willing to pay the cost, it didn't matter because there was no containers available. And so they couldn't actually import any of the stuff that they needed. And so the message that was sent out was, hey, we're not going to have any inventory, so we better start raising prices fast across the board on all the products on our website. Now, why do they have to do that? Well, because they can't replace what they sell, so they have to make do with what they've got, which means they have to get as much as they possibly can for each item that they sell because they have no idea when they're going to be able to replace it with more inventory. And again, this is the big problem that everybody wants to overlook when it comes to prices, is that it takes two to tango. Everybody focuses on demand. Oh, well, if we have a recession, the demand is going to go down. Yes, but what happens when the supply goes down even faster than the demand? Because what sets prices is the relationship between supply and demand, not the absolute level. So if demand goes down, but supply goes down even more, prices go up. And that is stagflation. That's what everybody seems to overlook, that possibility. In fact, it's not just a possibility, it is a probability. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, it's a foregone conclusion. That is exactly what is going to happen. Supply is going to collapse. Demand's going to go down too, but prices are going to go through the roof. So to the extent that you need to buy something, you're going to have to pay a very, very high price for it because there's not going to be a lot of it to go around, particularly when we really start to see the dollar weaken. But another example of this whole dynamic working out with there not being enough supply is in the housing market, particularly entry-level homes, right? These are the homes that the first-time home buyer is going to buy. And there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that pointed out that the supply of entry-level homes, which I think it described as 1,400 square feet or less. So these are small homes, right? 2-3 bedroom homes, probably 1-story homes. But they're the house that you buy when it's your first house. So you're younger, you don't have as much money, and so you buy one of these smaller homes. The supply of these homes is now at a 50-year low. And because there are so few starter homes available, the article was focusing on the fact that now more and more people, rather than buying new housing that was just produced, they're buying fixer-uppers, right? That's what they call in the Wall Street world. You're buying a dump. You're buying a place that's really needs a lot of work, and so you got to fix it up. And so it's a fixer-upper. And obviously, if it's a fixer-upper, it's a lot less expensive than a house that you don't have to fix up. Because the problem with the fixer-upper isn't what it costs to buy it. It's what it costs to actually fix it up. And I think a lot of these first-time home buyers who are buying these fixer-uppers are underestimating just how expensive it's going to be to fix it up. And, rather than these new homes, being, their dream ticket to home equity and wealth as homeowners, they could more likely turn out to be big fat money pits, right? Where money comes in and it never comes out, right? It's a constant drain on your wallet. And of course, as you're forced to spend more and more money on your house, you don't have money to buy other things. So as these first-time home buyers are sucked into these housing money pits, they're going to spend less money on everything else because whatever they have is going into their house. And, it's not just that inflation is making it more expensive to build these starter homes. It is also making it more expensive to fix them up. And so you're not getting around the fact that houses are more expensive, because when you buy a brand new house, well, you don't have to fix the roof. You don't have to take care of a lot of these problems that you're going to have to take care of if you buy a house that's 20, 30 years old or more and has been neglected and is in disrepair, and now it needs a lot of work. But, one of the reasons, too, that you're not seeing the builders building these types of homes, these starter homes, is that there's no margin there. It's very difficult to make money on these homes because there's certain fixed costs associated with building. And, if you build a 3,000 square foot house, it's not double the cost of a 1,500 square foot house. So it's easier for the builders to make money on the more expensive home than it is on these starter homes, where they still have to overcome a lot of these fixed costs. And of course, you've got government permitting and a lot of other stuff that, probably is the same, for larger homes. But it's the first-time home buyer, their budgets are very tight. They don't have the flexibility to pay the extra money because they're barely covering it now. I mean, they're so dependent. One of the only things that's keeping these guys in the market is how low the mortgage rates are. They don't have down payments, right? Because they're young and they haven't saved. And the problem with these first-time home buyers is that they don't have a trader home, right? The guys that are buying their second home or their third home, they generally can cover the down payment with the sale of the home that they already own. They just roll the equity into the down payment in the new property. But if you don't own a home and you have no equity, well, you have to come up with cash. Well, how are you going to come up with cash if you don't have any? And a lot of people not only don't they have cash, they owe money. They have credit card debt. They have an auto loan, right? They have a student loan. So the first-time home buyers are in really bad shape financially, which is why the age keeps going up now. I think over the last decade, the age has gone up. For the first time somebody buys a home, I think it was 30 years old, and now it's up to 33. People need to wait longer because it takes them longer to be able to save up the money. And now it's going to take them even longer because there's so few properties on the market because they haven't been built. And again, that comes back to the supply problem. We don't have the supply. A lot of people have lots of money now because the government is printing it and handing it out, and the government is making it very easy to borrow the money you don't have by keeping rates really low. But what that doesn't do is magically create properties for people to buy. So there aren't new properties being built. So what happens with all that new money? It simply bids up the prices of the homes that have already been built, and it's going to cost even more to fix up the ones that are in disrepair because inflation is driving up the cost of all the materials and labor that would be necessary to fix up these properties.